Broadcasting live from somewhere underneath the ground. Archaeology News. The news you can trust.
So for the next story, we're going up to a site in northern England called Star Carr. And this is one of my favorite archaeological sites. Now, this story is going to involve using new technology in very old archaeological sites to get answers. Now, Star Carr is hugely important in archaeological history. First of all, it's Mesolithic, so that means old, like very old, more than 10,000 years old. It's so old that when it was in use, Britain was not even an island at that point. So instead of being near the coast, it was actually on the edge of a place called Doggerland, which was flooded out about 7,000 years ago due to rising sea levels. In fact, radiocarbon dates estimate that the site was used from approximately 9,300 to 8,500 BC. And speaking of radiocarbon dating, another reason why this site is very historic is I believe this was one of the first, if not the first, archaeological sites that ever used radiocarbon dating, and that's something we take for granted. The site was discovered in 1947, and it was excavated by a team led by Graham Clark from 1949 to 1951. Now, the publication of that was groundbreaking, representing the birth of Graham's highly scientific approach called environmental archaeology, and that included that radiocarbon dating, which had just been published in 1949 by William Libby, so it was really the hot new thing back then. And what they found was equally amazing. There were a number of roundhouses, which were the oldest dwellings ever found in Britain. Now, these things were made of wood, they were post holes, and they were probably roofed with something like reeds or animal skins, so it's believed they looked something like teepees. And they were in a swampy area on the edge of a lake that no longer exists. There were lots of barbed points made from deer antlers, lithic tools, but the coolest thing were these 21 enigmatic headdresses that were made from the skulls of deer, ancient deer, and you can see some of these at the British Museum and some other institutions. Now, the holes in them are not right-sized to be eyes in a mask, and they're not useful for defensive purposes, so the best guess is that they were some kind of ceremonial headdress. You guessed it, ritual. You can take a drink. Anyway, you can tell I love this stuff because I'm totally geeking out, but why is a 70-year-old site news? I mean, what's new here? Well, recently some researchers from the University of York and Newcastle University went back and applied something that we've talked about to the stone tools found on the site. Can you guess what it is? Microwear analysis. If you recall from our previous episode on that, microwear analysis entails looking at the most minute patterns on tools to see what it is that they may have cut, and we can do that by comparing them with the patterns on known tools. So that way we can guess, did this cut bone? Did this cut, hit other stone? Did it cut wood? Anyway, check out that video for a refresher. And that's just what this team did. So they selected 3 of the structures on site. Let's take a closer look at this middle one. Well, these are those roundhouses we saw before, and as you can see from the diagram, those roundhouses have post holes and pits in and around them. And in and around those post holes and pits, there are lots of lithic flakes and tools. Now, applying the microwear analysis to those tools, what the researchers found was that the residents of Star Carr seemed to have really neat and tidy little organized houses, and they organized their labor spatially within their worlds. So, for example, there were parts of the houses that were probably used for butchery based on the tools, so carving up meat and fish, which is dirty work. But in other places, they use the tools for cleaner work, like carving up and shaping antlers for those projectiles or for beads and other ornamentation, or to chop wood. So the point is that these ancient people who lived at Star Carr had some concern for hygiene and cleanliness. And in a chaotic world, they wanted to bring a little bit of order into their life. And if you think about it, that's not really that far off from us, right? And this is just another example of archaeology being able to bring us closer together, add a little bit of understanding with our ancient relatives, and maybe in a secondary way with each other. Hey, if you like what you heard, give me that thumbs up below, hit that bell to subscribe, or if you want to support more independent archaeology content, consider contributing to my Patreon, where you can enjoy some exclusive members-only benefits and other goodies. Until the next dig.